a digital haze, looking for love in modern days. 21st century dating decoded. The official Speed Mingle podcast. Yeah, 21st century dating decoded. The official Speed Mingle podcast.
Usually when we think about meeting someone new as an adult, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's for like dating or friendship or even professional networking, there's this expectation of it feeling like a high stakes stage performance.
Absolutely. It's terrifying.
Right. You're just standing there in the spotlight, sweating through your shirt, clutching this like invisible mental resume of your entire life, just bracing yourself for the judges to hit a buzzer.
Because it becomes entirely transactional.
Yeah.
You're essentially reducing human chemistry to a bulleted list of credentials.
Just reading off the stats.
Exactly. You present your stats, you evaluate their stats, and the resulting exhaustion is just profound. I mean, we all crave genuine connection.
Yeah.
But the actual mechanics we've built to facilitate it often make us want to just, retreat to our couches and isolate.
Which is exactly why today, for our deep dive, we are doing a complete autopsy on the mechanics of human connection. For you listening, this is the mission today. We are looking at how adults actually meet in the real world, moving away from all that digital burnout.
And away from the extremely rigid traditional structures.
Yeah, to really break down the source stack we're working with today, we are unpacking official website materials and FAQs from a company called Speed Mingle.
Who, by the way, have been around since 2001.
Right, they've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
We're also looking at details about their proprietary 52+2 card game, a really fascinating YouTube breakdown comparing old school speed dating to modern speed mingling, something called the group mingle protocol, and a very specific case study of an upcoming event happening on July 12th, 2026 down in Florida.
It's a really rich stack of materials.
It is. And here is the hook for today's deep dive. The traditional speed dating industry. It had a massive 90% failure rate.
Staggering number.
Right, 90%. And the solution to fixing that involves completely ditching one-on-one interviews, intentionally mixing in professional networking, and enforcing a very strict, and I mean very strict, grandmother dress code.
I love that rule so much. But, that staggering 90% failure rate is really a structural indictment of how we previously thought adults should meet.
Yeah.
Before we can deconstruct the modern mingling ecosystem, we really have to look at the postmortem of the old model. I mean, we all know the misery of the 3-minute timer and the sweaty scorecard.
Oh, the worst.
But the YouTube breakdown really shows us the data on exactly why it was structurally doomed from the start.
Yeah, because the classic speed dating model was basically a gauntlet. It was these 3 to 7 minute one-on-one intimate conversations and focused purely on romance.
Right. Purely romantic.
You sit down, someone hits a literal stopwatch, and you have to prove your worth before a bell rings.
And from a neurological standpoint, that timer puts the human brain into a hyper-evaluative state.
Like panic mode.
Basically, yeah. The prefrontal cortex goes into absolute overdrive. You are no longer experiencing the person sitting across from you.
Because you're just thinking about the clock.
Right. You aren't picking up on subtle micro-expressions or body language or warmth. Instead, your brain is just processing this rapid-fire checklist of attributes. It's an interrogation. It's not a conversation.
Interrogations don't really spark romance.
No, they are fatal to the organic development of chemistry.
Well, and the events themselves were notoriously awkward, obviously, but the FAQ data points to a second, much darker reason for the industry's collapse.
The privacy issue.
Massive privacy breaches. Historically, you were handing a physical piece of paper, your little scorecard, to a tired organizer at the end of the night.
Which relied entirely on manual matching.
Yeah.
An organizer had to physically sit down, cross-reference these paper scorecards, and distribute contact information by hand.
Oh.
And predictably actually, this led to the widespread, unauthorized release of personal data.
So bad. People were receiving texts and calls from individuals they had explicitly rejected.
Which completely destroys the psychological safety of the room.
Exactly. If I walk into an event knowing my phone number might end up in the hands of someone who, made me uncomfortable, I'm walking in with my armor on.
You have to.
I'm defensive from the second I check my coat.
And when people feel their boundaries are permeable, they immediately put up that social shield.
No.
You are guaranteed to get the most guarded, artificial version of a person in that environment.
Right. So enter the pivot. This company, Speed Mingle, recognized the structural flaw early on. Like we said, they were established way back in 2001.
Yeah, their logo still proudly features these two, sharp-looking early 2000s cartoon professionals.
Standing very confidently in their business casual.
Exactly.
But they realized the one-on-one timer-based model was fundamentally broken, so they shifted the entire paradigm to what they call a dynamic cocktail party.
Yes.
And it's governed by their internal group mingle protocol.
The group mingle protocol completely dismantles that musical chairs routine. Instead of sitting across from one person, attendees are placed into varied groups of 4 to 6 people.
Okay, let's unpack this, because my initial reaction here is just skepticism.
Oh, sure.
The traditional method was a stressful corporate job interview carousel. We established that. But if you throw me into a group of 6 people, and the protocol explicitly notes there might not even be an even split of men and women at my table.
Which is true. They don't guarantee that.
Doesn't that completely defeat the purpose? Like, if I paid for a ticket specifically to find a romantic date, and I'm sitting at a table with 5 people of a gender I'm not attracted to, you've just wasted my time.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the apparent chaos of the mixed group is actually the primary feature. It's not a bug.
Wait, really? How?
Think about it. When you isolate 2 people in a one-on-one romantic scenario, the pressure to perform is blinding.
Yeah, the interrogation thing?
Right. By expanding the pod to 4 or 6 people, the spotlight instantly diffuses. The pressure shifts from an instant binary romantic assessment to a broader, highly relaxed social horizon.
Oh, I see. So it's the difference between, like, observing an animal in its natural habitat versus staring at it in a tiny zoo enclosure.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
You are watching their authentic social micro-behaviors. Are they a generous listener? Do they naturally share the spotlight with the group?
What, do they just talk over everyone?
Exactly. How do they react to a joke? You see their true personality rather than their rehearsed first date persona. Plus, removing that forced gender parity removes the pass-fail metric of the evening.
Right.
You might not find a spouse at that specific table, but you might have a fascinating conversation with someone who becomes a pivotal career contact or a really close friend.
Which makes beautiful sense on a sociological level, but practically it sounds like an absolute minefield.
Why is that? Yeah.
Well, if the physical room is this chaotic blend of group conversations and people have totally varying intentions, like some on a hot date, some want a job, some want a tennis partner, how do you actually navigate that? How do you do it without the agonizing face-to-face awkwardness of rejecting someone's advances in a group setting?
This is where behavioral economics meets modern tech. The old physical scorecard has been entirely replaced by a proprietary digital system called the SmartSync web app.
Okay.
It basically functions as an invisible social bouncer for the evening.
The algorithm of empathy.
Yes.
Because before you even walk through the venue doors, you build a profile on this web app. You select broad lifestyle interests, adventure, arts and culture, food and drink, intellectual stimulation.
All the standard common ground stuff.
Right, but the crucial step is selecting what they term your deal breaker categories.
Yes.
Which essentially dictate your intentions by locking you into one of 4 distinct paths of connection for the evening.
And those 4 paths fundamentally redefine the architecture of the room. Path 1 is networking, which is subtitled Professional Ascent. That's designed specifically for sourcing mentors or industry collaborators.
Okay, and then path 2 is friendship or social synergy, right? That's for finding a gym buddy or a trivia partner.
Exactly. Path 3 is dating, aimed at romance and real chemistry.
And finally, path 4, which is casual fun, described on the app as spontaneous adult play, which is aimed at low-commitment, high-energy interactions.
The genius here is how the app manages cognitive load and privacy simultaneously. At the actual event, you are shielded by total anonymity. You only use your first name.
No last names.
No last names, no phone numbers, absolutely no social media handles are exchanged in the room.
So after the event concludes, you log into the SmartSync app from the safety of your own home. The system shows your compatibility percentages with the other attendees based on those initial interest surveys.
Right.
But the vital mechanism is this. You can only initiate a chat through the app if the interest is mutual.
It operates entirely on a double-blind opt-in system. You select the people you enjoyed speaking with. If someone does not select you back, they never even know you reached out.
Oh, wow.
It entirely eliminates the physiological sting of rejection from the ecosystem.
I do want to push back on the physical integration of those 4 paths, though. Because we are talking about putting a 25-year-old who checked the box for spontaneous adult play at the exact same cocktail table as a 55-year-old who checked the box for professional mentor.
Yeah, they could absolutely be in the same group as 6.
You can hide behind the app later, but in the physical room, doesn't that feel like a recipe for a deeply uncomfortable interaction?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it actually changes your body language entirely because the algorithm takes the burden of rejection off your shoulders.
How so?
Think about how defensive you have to be at a normal bar if someone with entirely different intentions approaches you. You have to put your guard up, figure out how to let them down easy, protect your space.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
But here, the algorithm acts as a digital shield. You can share a pleasant, polite 10-minute group conversation with that person, knowing absolutely that the system will not facilitate a connection later because your deal breakers just don't align.
Oh, I see. It grants you the psychological freedom to be universally friendly.
Exactly.
I don't have to worry about accidentally leading someone on by laughing at their joke because the app is going to physically block our connection on the back end. Since, I clicked networking and they clicked casual fun.
It preserves the safe, unbiased cocktail party environment.
Yeah.
And to your point about the age gap, they employ a very strict open age policy.
Right.
The typical demographic is mid-30s to early 60s, but anyone 21 and older is welcome. Because the company philosophy is that chemistry transcends numbers.
But they do enforce a very firm boundary regarding that policy because the materials explicitly state no refunds are given if no one in your preferred age group shows up.
Nope.
Or if you simply don't get a mutual match, you are paying for the curated environment and the psychological safety of the room. You are not paying for a guaranteed spouse.
Which is a remarkably healthy boundary for an organizer to establish up front. It manages expectations and removes the entitlement that often plagues paid dating events.
Totally. So the tech gets you into a room with compatible people, and the double-blind system protects you on the back end. But we still have to survive the actual mingling part. When you are sitting in a group of 6 people, and you only have a 10 to 15-minute rotation window before the groups shuffle, how do you bypass the absolute death trap of superficial small talk?
Yeah, if everyone sits down and defaults to the standard, so what do you do for work? Or, how about this weather?
Ugh.
The dynamic instantly flatlines. You immediately regress back into the tedious mini-interview format.
Right. So to hack this dynamic, Speed Mingle drops a physical tool into the center of the table. It's called 52+2, the card game.
With an exclamation point.
Yes, it is literally a physical deck of 54 cards, and it's pitched as an icebreaker extraordinaire and a dating dynamo.
The entire design philosophy of this deck is to artificially forcefully skip the what do you do conversational loop.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's essentially bowling with the bumper lanes up, but for human conversation.
I love that analogy.
The cards are loaded with fun, meaningful, unexpected, and honestly hilarious prompts. You draw a card, you read the question to the group, and it completely bypasses the need for anyone at the table to be naturally witty or charismatic.
Right.
The deck is so effective, they actually market it outside the events, right? Like for team building and family gatherings.
They do. And the psychology behind why a piece of cardboard is so effective at generating chemistry is fascinating. When you meet someone new, an enormous percentage of your cognitive bandwidth is consumed by performance anxiety.
Oh, for sure.
You are actively trying to invent the perfect next question. You are terrified of an awkward silence. You are monitoring your own posture.
You're so busy writing the script in your head that you aren't actually listening to the person speaking.
Precisely. By outsourcing the prompt to a physical card, you remove the burden of invention. In psychology, we refer to this as a shared third object.
A shared third object.
Yeah, it diffuses the intensity of direct, unbroken eye contact. You can look at the card, laugh at the card, and blame the card if the question is weird.
It's not my deeply personal question, it's the cardboard's deeply personal question.
Exactly. And once the cognitive load of inventing the conversation is lifted, your brain finally has the bandwidth to engage in active, empathetic listening.
Wow.
You start paying attention to the tone of their voice, the cadence of their stories, the authenticity of their perspective. You actually get to hear them rather than just waiting for your turn to deliver a rehearsed elevator pitch.
It's a brilliant sociological hack. And to see how this psychology actually plays out in a physical space, we can look at a specific real-world event happening next week.
Grounding this theory in a physical location really highlights how heavily they rely on environmental psychology to make the whole system work.
So the event is titled The Hook, Line, and Speed Mingle. It's part of their second Sunday summer series.
Taking place on Sunday, July 12th, 2026, from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Wait, Sunday afternoon?
The timing is very intentional. Late Sunday afternoon is a transitional period. It is designed to wind down the weekend in a relaxed, low-stakes state. They're intentionally avoiding the frantic, high-pressure expectations of a Friday or Saturday night primetime slot.
That makes a lot of sense. And the location is the Slick Lips Seafood and Oyster House on Palafox Street in Pensacola, Florida.
Beautiful area.
Yeah, and the promotional art they've created for this sets an incredibly vivid scene. You have this nautical logo with a fish leaping on a hook. The centerpiece is an illustration of a couple lounging on a sun-drenched wooden dock at sunset.
Very picturesque.
Right, and flanking the image is a rustic basket overflowing with fresh oysters beside a heavy shucking knife and a beautiful crystal glass holding a lime-garnished craft cocktail. The entire aesthetic is this upscale, casual, breezy coastal vibe.
They are setting a highly specific psychological stage before a ticket is even purchased.
And that upscale vibe isn't just in the artwork. It's enforced by a literal financial and sartorial barrier to entry.
Yeah, the tickets.
The ticketing scales from a $19.99 early bird special on Eventbrite up to $39.99 at the door.
Right.
But the detail that truly stands out is the dress code. It is officially listed as smart casual, but they provide an undeniably clear metric for what that actually means.
The grandmother rule.
The grandmother rule. Quote, dress as if you were in public with your grandmother. If she wouldn't approve, change. End quote.
Establishing that sartorial boundary is crucial for the ecosystem. It immediately demands a baseline of respect and effort from every participant in the room. You can't just roll in wearing sweatpants.
So what does this all mean? Because I have to ask about the venue itself. Does swapping out a sterile hotel conference room for a bustling oyster bar at sunset actually alter the social chemistry of the attendees? Or is this just clever marketing to justify a $40 ticket?
Environmental psychology plays a massive, measurable role in human behavior. Think about the physical reality of a sterile hotel conference room.
Ugh, the fluorescent lighting.
Right, the recycled air, the uncomfortable fold-out chairs. That environment cues your brain for a tedious corporate seminar or like a trip to the DMV.
Your shoulders tense up immediately. You feel institutionalized.
The environment literally breeds defensiveness. To truly cure digital burnout and facilitate genuine connection, you have to create a physical setting that triggers the parasympathetic nervous system.
Which is what?
It's the part of your brain responsible for rest and digestion. An upscale seafood house with craft cocktails and a sunset view sends immediate relaxation cues to the brain. It signals leisure.
It tells your body that you are safe and that you are here to play, not to work.
Exactly. When people feel physically comfortable and aesthetically stimulated by their environment, the social friction drops significantly.
Wow.
The chemistry generated in a room that smells like fresh seafood and sea breeze is going to be infinitely more genuine than the chemistry forced under flickering fluorescent tubes.
You are quite literally setting the stage for neurochemical success before anyone even opens their mouth. It's an incredible evolution to witness. We've watched the concept of meeting adults transform from the complete failure of those high-pressure, one-on-one romantic interrogations into this tech-assisted, gamified, group mingling cocktail party.
It really is a massive shift.
It is a masterclass in giving people the exact scaffolding they need to connect while letting them retain absolute, total control of their personal boundaries and privacy.
And the core takeaway for you, listening right now, really transcends the specific events. Whether you are actively looking to expand your professional network, or trying to find a new trivia buddy for Tuesday nights, or hoping to spark a profound romance-generating genuine connection, requires a fundamental shift in behavior.
Right.
It requires intentionally putting down the phone, embracing a bit of external structure, whether that's a physical card game or a digital algorithm, and having the courage to completely abandon small talk.
Because asking someone about the traffic or the weather isn't going to change your life.
It never will. But, analyzing the entirety of this smart sync system raises a compelling philosophical question to leave you with.
Oh.
Think about this. The entire architecture of this platform is built on matching people based on shared interests, a mutual love for arts, or food, or sports. It is meticulously designed to guarantee common ground.
Which on the surface feels like the ultimate goal, right? You want someone who speaks your language.
Exactly. But if we rely entirely on algorithms to pair us exclusively with people who already share our exact hobbies, our exact lifestyle choices, and our exact deal breakers, do we risk losing the inherent magic of social friction?
Oh, wow.
What happens to the beautiful, unpredictable surprise of falling deeply in love with someone or becoming best friends with someone whose perspective, background, and interests are entirely opposite to our own?
That is such a good point. If we only ever audition people who already know how to read from our exact script, maybe we never get to experience a completely different play. Next time you find yourself standing on that proverbial stage, sweating in the spotlight, maybe it's worth tossing the resume entirely, sitting down at a crowded table, and just drawing a card.
Because the best connections are rarely the ones we engineered.
Thank you for listening
and watching on the new Speed Mingle TV network.